everyone. For this review, we have the Super 7 Ultimates Toho Wave 3 Destoroyah. This guy is going to come in a gigantic box. Here's a size comparison to a McFarlane figure. Inside is a barely smaller box. And let's go ahead and get this out of the package, the wrap. And I believe this is the front. So this is the back. This is the front, which is very nice. There's this scale pattern and it is three-dimensional. So that's super cool. Even carries over to the top. And that's the bottom. And this is a slip cover. Yeah. And there is Destoroyah. There's a lot of glare coming off on this, so I'm gonna try to show this off as well as possible. But obviously this thing is huge. So that's the outer packaging. Let's go ahead and get this guy out. Thing's also fairly heavy. Feels like this might be like maybe 5 pounds. There's a lot going on. So in the packaging, we've got two sets of hands. We got these little crab scorpion things. We have an alternate head. And then in the tray in the back, we've got the tail and the wings. So let's go ahead and get him all the way out. Okay, here he is out of the package, and there's a lot going on here. Again, this guy is pretty heavy. Just picking him up, I mean, he feels very chunky. I haven't put anything, put the parts on yet. So you got the tail. Tail's going to be the biggest thing, and I would definitely recommend taking a heat gun and heating up this area before trying to put it on. Is it on there? Yes, it is on there. Um, didn't get like a satisfying kind of pop, and you see that there is a good bit of movement, but I guess that's a good thing. So you get more articulation from the tail. Um, the tail is segmented at every individual piece, so you got some pretty good movement, but at the same time, you're going to be a bit hindered because of the sculpt work, which I'm fine with. So next, we've got his wings, and he's got two sets of wings. And before we even put the wings on, let's talk about the shoulders. They are on a disc hinge. There's some outward movement, but they're kind of hindered by the sculpt, which I think is okay. I like the sculpt more than, this guy needing to be like a Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure. And I don't know if I'm gonna do this wrong, but I kind of feel like uh, the wings have kind of like they're kind of cupped. So like there's definitely a curvature. And I think they should curve out and face the front to do that. So I'm gonna roll with it that way. And there he is with his wings on. The big wings are on the top, the smaller wings are on the bottom. So there is a disc hinge on each of these joints. So you do have quite a bit of movement. The arms are a little weird. So you saw that there was a disc hinge here. There is also a disc hinge at the top of the bicep and a disc hinge at the elbow. Basically, it's going to let you get a more extreme pose out of the arm. So kind of think of it like a drop down hip, but for, the shoulder, I guess, because it's got all this armor. The head is on a ball joint, and there's actually a good bit of movement. You're still limited by sculpting here, but the peg juts out pretty far, and there's the teeniest of a gap, and you can tell they did that to give you more articulation. The center, trying to see if this came apart. This looks like this is a separate piece that gets glued in, but this is a ball joint at the bottom. Um, you're going to get mostly twisting from it, but technically there is some side to side. You've got disc hinge here. Again, limited because of the sculpt. Disc hinge in the knee, again, limited. And disc hinge at the foot, um, little limited, but all the limitations are due to the sculpt work. And this figure shouldn't have to do a whole lot of extreme stuff. The big thing you're going to want to do is arms, maybe bending over, which he'll be able to do that pretty well. Some flight poses. You can kick the feet back, and those look pretty good. So he can do all the things that you would want Destoroyah to be able to do. As you see, he has these kind of like closed grip hands, and he has wider grip hands that you can switch out. They are on a disc hinge. So in those moments where you want him like grabbing Godzilla, you can totally do that. We showed this in the packaging, but he's got these little crab spider minion people. And then let's see if we can pop this head off easily. Well, I had some technical issues with recording, so part of the video is gone. But as you see here, we've got Destoroyah with the alternate head, with the mad mouth open expression, and here we've got the burning Godzilla that is one of the figures you can pair him with. Super 7 also did another figure where Godzilla's partly dissolved and decomposed. The whole ending of the movie is about Godzilla not being able to defeat Destoroyah, and I'm gonna butcher this, but he basically increases his power interdimensionally, so to speak. He has this raging energy build up inside of him. He's able to create this amazing atomic blast and destroy Destoroyah. And in the process, his body just keeps heating up and heating up and heating up, and he begins to melt. And that's what this particular version of Godzilla is. The white cloud looking stuff is meant to be like steam and smoke because his body's literally on fire. Anyway, without going into all that, as we see, we can, pair these guys together. And I mean, these Toho Ultimates are already large figures, and you can see Destoroyah towers over Godzilla. So that just gives you an idea of the depth and the scale of this figure by itself. So not, you know, not the most posable figure ever made. I don't think it needs to be. It makes all the moves that he would make in the movie, and it's just amazing just how many pieces of detail are on this figure anyway. The fact that it moves at all, and they've done some clever things, to give some movement to different places is just amazing because this thing is just a big, heavy chunk of plastic when you put this on your shelf. So that's the review. I would definitely recommend this figure for any Godzilla fan. This character is hardly ever made into any kind of physical form. And this happens to be the last. This particular movie that the character's from is like the last of this particular era. So Destroy is a very iconic Godzilla villain and doesn't get enough love. So definitely recommend getting this guy. So that's the review. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, tune into more videos coming up. Thank you.